sit down and hang out with you for a bit. It's gonna be cool.
You do my best not to ruin it.
Same.
Yeah. All right. Let's just get in here. All right. Hey, Annelle.
Hey, Stuart, how's it going?
Good. Very well, thank you. I'm going to just put my notes. I did prep for our chit chat today. I thought it prudent, since I'm a professional podcast interviewer now, that I probably should do more of that. And so here we are today. My first question for you is, what does the phrase "a dirty hoe is a happy hoe" mean to you?
Well, considering I'm over 40, whenever I think about a dirty hoe, like I've been through different hoe phases in my life,
Yes.
you know, but the current one that I'm in is the gardening phase. So a dirty hoe is a happy hoe means my actual garden hoe. So that's
So, full disclosure,
very old of me.
I'm gonna push this a little closer to you. Full disclosure, I want to let people know that we've met once through a mutual friend. It was a delightful meeting.
Yes.
I think you're awesome, and we just scratched the surface as to what you're up to and what you're doing. And I thought, man, it'd be nice to finish this conversation on the podcast, which is why you're here today. So I do know a bit, and that was a little unfair of me because now everyone thinks you're a dirty hoe. It's a gardening club online, isn't it?
it is.
Okay, that's fantastic. Sorry. Welcome to the Movie Media Podcast.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here. So honored to be here.
So, I don't know where to start with you. Why are you here today?
Well, you know, I had wanted to meet you. So yeah, like you were talking about, you know, we met one time, but I had wanted to meet you because you're doing everything that I want to do.
Okay.
And you're doing it in the way that I want to do it.
Well, thank you.
And yeah, absolutely.
How did you come to that conclusion, and are you sure?
I am sure. But for initially you met my husband, and my husband came home talking about you.
Really?
And this has been quite a while ago. And he was like, "You have got to meet Stuart," you know. And so he was telling me a little bit about you. And then in my relationship with Susan and David and things like that, like I wanted to meet you, and I had seen some of your work, and then you started to pop up on my feed.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, I love it. I was immediately hooked.
We only started doing social last year because the last 2 years we've been hiring people. I'm trying to grow this business into something more stable than just a one-man band, as it's been the case for the last 15 years. But these guys I've been hiring, they were like, "You've got to be on social. What are you doing?" And so we got the YouTube. So we've only been doing it for like 8 months or so now, but I'm pretty proud of what we're doing. I'm glad we're popping up on your feed.
Absolutely.
So speaking about social, I ain't going to teach you nothing about that because you have quite the following on social. What is that about, and how did that come about?
So I started growing an audience, I guess, inadvertently about 17 years ago. My daughter was born 1 pound 5 ounces.
Holy cow.
And so I started making videos, and I've always been a creative, you know, writing and producing and things like that. And, you know, we went viral before viral meant anything other than a sickness. And so I started growing an audience. It wasn't on purpose. It was just to tell my daughter's story. And then in 2018, an article hit the New York Times, the front page of the New York Times, about a crazy experience that I went through. And it was the very first time that I talked about it online. And when I went to go and talk about it, I was met with parents whose children had been through the same thing, except for that they had not believed them before that, or people saying...
This is a traumatic experience, I assume.
Oh, yeah. Crazy. And, you know, yeah, definitely very traumatic. Years of abuse, and including like kidnapping and just all kinds of insane stuff.
By the way, so I have a terrible sense of humor, but it comes from a place of love. Like, everything I say is tongue in cheek. And if I ask you a question, you don't have to answer nothing, okay?
Right.
So, I mean, it's kind of weird that you'd be here and not want to talk about stuff. But if I ask you something, just be like, nah, not today, okay? You can do that.
Yeah.
So, trauma, kidnapping, that sounds crazy.
Yeah. And it was insane. And I mean, it's 2 years of my life. And the fact that it's still happening today, you know, almost every single aspect of it is considered legal in our country. And
I'm sorry. Right. I mean, I got to have context. Like, is it?
Oh my gosh.
Like, and it's probably like a 4-hour conversation, but like, what's the highlights? What's the cliff
Okay,
notes?
so the short version is that September 1st of 2001, I was kidnapped out of my bed because I had found my dad's body after he passed away in January of 2001. And so at that point, you know, I needed guidance, I needed help, and at the from the advice from my counselor was to send me to a program in Hancock, New York called the Family Foundation School, and it's in the Catskill Mountains. And it was marketed with a beautiful yearbook with, you know, amazing testimonials, but it was all a facade. It was a lot of abuse. And there were, at the time that I was there were like 250 kids with me that were, you know, that went there at the exact same time.
Boarding school situation.
Yeah, boarding school. Mm-hmm. Yep, therapeutic boarding school. And, you know, my mom had an educational consultant, and she had listened to the advice of her and, you know, thinking that she's paying all this money because it was $50,000 a year to go there.
Holy
so we're not talking about chump change here. And so they made all these promises like, you know, your daughter's artistically inclined, she's musically inclined, we have all these programs, she's going to be doing all this great stuff. Well, you know, meanwhile, it was just constant berating, and it was awful. It was an awful experience. And so whenever I started...
How long did that school last for?
They lasted from the 70s until 2014.
How long were you there?
I was there for 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah.
And then 2014, they were shut down?
They weren't shut down. They went bankrupt.
Okay.
Nobody shut them down. They shut themselves down. And I think that that's important because they should have been shut down. And, you know, there are things that are going on right now where, like, just two weeks ago in Asheville, North Carolina, there were 2 children. One was 12, one was 13, and they both killed themselves. And that school decided to shut themselves down. They're not being shut down by anybody. And this is happening all over the place in 2025.
So I'm going to pause you there, not because I'm not fascinated, it's because, that can get real heavy.
Oh, yeah.
I know from experience that everything's happening all the time. Oh, like, it is a terrible thought, and it's also a beautiful thought that everything that a human being is capable of is happening somewhere right the hell now. And so I get it. Yeah, I get it. And I based on our conversation, I know that that's motivating a lot of the work you're doing now. So we're going to circle back around to some of that stuff.
Absolutely.
So you had because we're still trying to establish how you came to be this person online. So, all right.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you had a baby. Is she okay now, by the way?
Oh my gosh, she's almost 18 years old, and she is amazing. Awesome. Absolutely amazing.
And so then you had this growing presence that kind of organically started to grow. And then this big story came out in the newspaper that you happen to have some history with, and I guess you started talking about that online as well. Oh
yeah, and then like that. So that definitely grew my following, and also I'm the founder of the Real Posse, which is
the Real Posse.
Yes, okay. REALREEL, and so it is a global women's social club where I mean we get together, we laugh through the bullshit. You know, life is so full of bullshit, and if you don't laugh at it, you're going to cry at it. So, you know, and we lift each other up, and, you know, you leave your political hats at the door, you leave everything at the door, and you just come in as a human, and just being a woman is enough to be there. So, yeah.
So, all right, that makes sense. And so you built this. Was there any thought to which platform you should do it on, or was it more of like a venting situation? You just happened to be doing it on, what is it? You're on TikTok, right?
It started on YouTube, then on Facebook, and then whenever TikTok came around, I just, you know, there was no intentional strategy to it at the beginning. There is now, but no, there was no intentional strategy. It was just get on there, and I was so freaking real that it was, you know, I was completely an open book whenever I started.
You were authentic is the word, I think. Mm-hmm. You sound, so people were connecting to you, because I guess that kind of thing people don't talk about, and if there's a person that is talking about it, then you're going to be a magnet for everyone because everyone wants to talk about that stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so that's what you found, and that's how you built your following online. Okay, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's I've got something to ask you earlier on now that makes a lot more sense. I'll still ask the question though. Okay, so you've got the prep, you see, the prep.
Yeah.
Yes,
Very cool. Very cool.
I don't know what I'm doing, boys. We have a studio.
We're
All right, so so how are you said it was not intentional to start, it was very organic, but then it is intentional now. Tell me about that intentionality. How did it morph? What has it morphed into, and what are you doing now with that platform you have?
So the Real Posse has taken a turn into the Real Posse project, because what I found is that people will come together for good. And, for example, we've had members who have lost children or who didn't have Christmas gifts for their kids. And when you tell 35,000 women, like, hey, I'm in need, or this person is in need, man, they show up. And, I have some my rules are not complicated. The rules are the exact same as Willie Nelson's rules. The number 1 rule is don't be an asshole. The number 2 rule is don't be an asshole. And then the number 3 rule is don't be a fucking asshole.
Talk about Fight Club. Yeah, I get it.
Yes, exactly. And, you don't gossip and take things out and I don't know. I mean, I use that as a tool, and I'm not somebody. I just want to okay. So it's turned into this nonprofit where I have a brilliant board and a brilliant team that is serving beside me, and then talking about the family school stuff. I'm the host of Deprogrammed, which is a podcast / series about the school that we went to, whether it is because I went and I sat down in the people who made my life a living hell. I went and I sat in their living rooms and talked to them and asked them the hard questions like that I've been wanting to know, because I didn't know any other way to heal from it.
Do you air those on your podcast?
I haven't yet.
Oh, come on now. So you're talking to people about, so they went through similar things at the place you went? Mm-hmm. So how do you do you film an episode, or do you record an episode as and when these people come into your life? Is it like a regular thing or what?
I should have done that.
Where is it now? I'd love to listen to that.
It's on YouTube, and I actually had just started it. I didn't just start it. I didn't. Oh my gosh, I didn't just start it. I started it in 2018, but I didn't know what I was starting. I was starting research, and I was starting to try to make sense of how that could possibly have happened.
Isn't it crazy how, your experiences can motivate action, and then that's the fuel for it, and then the reason for it becomes apparent as you start to do it, right? So do you? I mean, you were doing it on YouTube. Does it still exist?
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
And how frequently are you doing it? Is it petered off, or is it just a body of work on? I'd say just.
So it was supposed to. So it actually started on Tik Tok, and from that, it's one of those things where I can't live there. I have to stay there in short bursts because it never fails. Every time I start talking about it publicly, I get inundated with messages. And I'm not saying that I don't want those connections and I don't want those people to reach out to me. But whenever I'm hearing, I want to kill those people or something like that, like, dude, I can't live there. Because I forgive. It's no. Nope. I don't forgive. Like, some of the things that happened were unforgivable, but I accept what happened, and I like to live in that acceptance. But I can take that back. I can take back that acceptance in a heartbeat. And it's really easy to go into that dark hole, and it's hard to get out of, because all of a sudden I'm 16 years old sitting in the freaking corner again. And I don't want to be there. I want to be here. I want to be 40. I want to have my family and know that I'm safe and I'm okay. And there's this weird thing that trauma does to me, that tells me sometimes that if I focus on it for too long, then
Well, I mean, it's something to go visit these people that put you through that. Now they're old and feeble and good. and you must, right? And so
they're not really good. No, they're justified.
No, and good as in I hope you're feeble and hurting. I'm just saying, I have a malicious side too.
Exactly.
So you're going in there and you're meeting these people, but just to be able to do that, I mean, you don't do that unless you're able to kind of bring yourself out of it and be that 40-year-old that isn't that 16-year-old kind of thing again.
Yep.
So we haven't fully got around to So you've got these thousands of people, and you are supporting each other. I guess,
oh yeah,
is what the whole purpose is.
Oh yeah, and it came from the family school experience pretty directly, because I know what it's like to not be loved. Mm-hmm. I want to bring people together and not tear them apart. And so while that school and that experience traumatized the hell out of me, and it's not that I'm grateful for it, but I'm one of those people that's going to take the good out of a situation and use it to help. And I'm going to use the bad to help somebody else, because I firmly believe that I can change the past by doing that. Okay. If I change the way I look at it, if I change my perspective, then do I not then have the power to change the past? So, All
right, cool. That's awesome. Great. So yes, to answer your question, I mean, we want to make documentaries, we want to make miniseries, we want to do all of that stuff, and we need access and a good story. I'd say good, tongue or whatever. But I'll tell that story for sure. And so if the opportunity presents itself, count us in.
Yeah? Absolutely.
All right.
I have so much stuff too. I have so much footage.
Well, it'll take a while, but maybe you'll be the first HBO Max thing we sell. I don't know. We'll find out together. But all right. So I want to tell you something. Last night, something happened to me. So I woke up. At 1:00 last night, because I don't usually do any prep for these podcasts. I usually sit down and just run my mouth and see what happens. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But last night I was up and I couldn't sleep. And so I was like, all right. I pulled you up on the internet. And, because Susie, our friend, a mutual contact, said that you had built a platform on TikTok. And I immediately realized something that I'd forgotten. And that's that TikTok is one of 3 websites that I blocked in my house, my internet. So I couldn't actually access any of your stuff on TikTok. So I ended up going to Facebook, where I found a bunch of things and stuff, which is, it's great. We can look at those if you want to in a minute. So anyway, that's what I did. So I went to ChatGPT, and I've never done this before, but everyone's talking about like AI and ChatGPT, and I'm like, why don't maybe ChatGPT can tell me about you, because I can't get to TikTok, and then because I've got kids and I don't want them on that and all that kind of stuff. But so I went on and I ChatGPT'd you. Have you ever ChatGPT'd you?
I have not ChatGPT. I mean, I am extremely close with ChatGPT, so it knows me very well.
It does. So I put in something to the effect of I'm having Annelle Blackwell on the podcast. If I put Blackwood, it would have been weird, right? What are some questions that perhaps I should ask? And ChatGPT said, "Would you like to hear?"
Would love to hear.
Okay. ChatGPT said. By the way, it's creepy what this thing knows.
Oh, I know.
So it said, great. Annelle Blackwell is a talented dancer and choreographer. And if she's involved in your project, The Dance, even better, which kind of creeped me out a bit. Here are some engaging, thought-provoking questions you could ask her, structured to bring out her personality, experiences, and insights for your listeners. Now, this is the first time I've ever done this on ChatGPT, so I was entertained. So I'm like, I didn't know you dance. So tell me, how did you first fall in love with dance, and was there a defining moment when you fell in love with dance?
Oh, well, I would have to say that whenever I fell in love with, I like the dance, but dancing.
What I found, so I was like, no, not that, Annelle. This one, and I sent them a page to your Facebook, and man, it's actually pretty good. Like, it came up with, I'm just going to hit some highlights, and again, you don't have to answer any of this stuff.
Dancing and wow.
Okay, it sounds like this Annelle Blackwell, and it gives a link to your handle on TikTok, is a dynamic storyteller and creator who has built a strong following through candid sharing of her recovery from addiction, losing over 130 pounds, and daily life in the woods of Mississippi. Is this all right?
Yes.
She's also open about using GLP-1 Medicaid. I don't even know what that is. Recovery, parenting, and mental health tools like books. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I know. It said, here are some compelling
Whoa.
questions in categories tailored for the conversation with her. So I thought I'd ask a few questions that
Absolutely.
ChatGPT suggested I ask you. And again, these aren't my questions. You can't blame me. If you want to hate someone, hate ChatGPT. And feel free to say no.
That's crazy.
Tell us about the moment you decided to go to rehab back in 2012.
Oh,
What were you feeling that day?
oh,
Would you like me to
man.
ask it like I'm ChatGPT? Tell
know
us
what?
about the moment. Want to go there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why'd you go to rehab?
So,
As if it needs to be asked.
right. I mean, my life was in the shitter.
Yeah, things were
Like,
rough.
It was, yeah. Things were awful. And I had just gotten arrested. Claire was in the hospital for pneumonia.
Your baby.
And yep, that was probably the, 8th or ninth time that she had been hospitalized. And I ended up getting arrested in the parking lot of my mom's store,
Yeah.
and that she owns. And I remember saying, dude, because, we're close like that. I was like, dude, if you get me out of this, I swear to God, I will never do anything again. Well, so I went to court and was messed up at court. And that night, the wonderful fellow that I was involved with went into my grandmother's safe and stole every single bit of my inheritance, my family's inheritance, heirlooms that had been passed down from generations. And I was so incredibly ashamed, but I had lost control because before this, I thought that he was the one that needed help. Like I was on pills and stuff like that, but I was like, oh yeah, he's the one who needs help because he was like epileptic and things like that. Well, then whenever I tried to stop, I was like crawling on the floor and
So
was
how
like,
did you
what's
end up in
going
rehab?
on? I told my grandmother we were sitting at breakfast, and first of all, the safe was open, the stuff was gone, and I was scared to death that I was about to get arrested. And
Because they were gonna. You were thinking they thought you would do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
yeah, and so I thought that, and they wouldn't let me out of their sight. Like
Who's
my
they?
mom and
Your mom.
my grandmother,
Okay.
they wouldn't let me out of their sight. And so when when I told my grandmother that I needed to go somewhere, she immediately hopped on the phone with somebody that she had known for like 50 years and said, she's saying that she's addicted to opiates. And she got me into a place, and I've been sober ever since. I mean, like, not like,
They get you committed.
right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate the honesty in that
Crazy.
one.
Yeah.
I'm sorry ChatGPT had no emotional awareness to be a little more sensitive about the brashness with which I approached
Well,
that
this
question.
is my grandmother. Look at that. That's my grandmother on a 42 Ford.
Can you? I mean, it's
my
cool.
grandmother.
It's
It
art.
is.
I get it. So,
Yeah.
what's it with tattoos? I don't.
Oh.
Like, what's the thing?
I think that it's, first of all, man,
And what is it for you is a
looks-
better question.
It looks so cool, right? But I'm an artist, and my art, like when you're looking at that real Posse thing right there, do you see all the chaos on that cover
Yeah.
photo? Yeah, it's chaos, but it is bright and beautiful and in its own way. And so I'm the same way. I feel like that it's so reflective of who I am inside. But I grew up, 330 pounds at my heaviest. And I lived my life 330 pounds. And when I would go into Walmart or something like that, like people would literally, put their heads down. And I assume that it's because maybe they were uncomfortable or they didn't want to stare or something like that, But it made me realize just how different I was. And that was the thing about online, was that I could stick a filter on my face, and it was these things. It was just this all-encompassing thing, to anything to stand out. Look at me, like I can be heard too. I can be seen too. Even though I'm this big, like I want a platform. I want to be heard. Like I have a story. And man, when you got to, I'm not saying that everybody with a crazy story even wants to tell their story, but I have always been a storyteller since I can remember. And dude, sorry, I just say dude a lot, but
isn't that the name you call the Lord?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's a compliment then.
Absolutely. You're right. But I feel like that whoever it is that's writing my story, they do some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And that stuff is not things that it's like a movie. And, sometimes I want to talk about it. A lot of times I don't now, though, because people.
Can I fire another random ChatGPT question at you?
Do it.
So these are like really bad interview questions from someone that has no, with respect to all the autistic people out there, this is like a severely autistic person with no emotional connection to humanity wrote these. So this is why I thought it'd be funny. Okay, so you mentioned that you were 300 something pounds. That's and ChatGPT knew that.
Yeah.
So
nice.
All right, and again, you don't have to ask this because ChatGPT has no manners. Okay, so yeah, you've shared losing 130 plus pounds using GLP-1s like Mounjaro.
Yeah.
What surprised you most about the process? Is that something you want to talk about?
I'm surprised that it worked.
What is Mounjaro?
So it is tirzepatide. It is a GLP-1 agonist. So I've tried every diet known to man since I was a teeny tiny kid. I was the big kid always picked last, but
sure.
But it was so funny because I was, also very athletic. Mm-hmm. And so I would get picked last and then I would go and knock the ball over the freaking fence and be like, see, and that is like, yeah, that was who I was.
Power.
Yeah, like, man, you underestimated me. You underestimated me because of something as trivial as my meat suit. And so the thing that was the most shocking was that it actually worked, because as somebody who, from the age of like 10, the only thing that ever worked was being starved at the family school. I was put on this thing called all halves where, they literally did starve me, and then showed my mom all these photos and, oh, look, she's losing so much weight. But it was because I didn't have any nutrition, and they were forcing me to, forced labor. And so that was the only thing that ever worked, which of course caused a huge disordered relationship with food. But when I started tirzepatide and the weight just started falling off, I was like, wait a sec, because I held on to all my big clothes just for whenever it stopped working.
Sure.
I'll be on for 3 years in October and have kept off all of this weight. It is wild to me because I still see the 330-pound woman in the mirror, and until I look at photos, I'm like, dude, wow.
I can appreciate that for those that have no frame of reference to that kind of stuff. So it's really weird how your sense of identity works. Like I'm like 6'2" on a good day, and I remember in a pool hall. If ever you played pool, they always have the tables all close together, right? And most people that play pool are like, they're country guys, they're people that pressure wash things, they're bikers, they're tough people, the people that work in the oil fields and things. And these are the people that I was playing with, and we'd fill up the pool hall every evening. And anyway, so you'd walk around a table with a cue about to take a shot, and you'd always bump into somebody. And I remember turning around, and this freaking 6'4" guy is like, "Oh, sorry, big guy." And I went, "I am a big guy." It was I've always, when I was growing up, I was 1 of 6, whatever the reason, but I always felt I never realized that I was actually kind of a sizable person. I can imagine it works the other way too.
Oh yeah.
When you grow up and your identity is formed when you're one way, and then you get through that. That's kind of be a mind fuck.
Oh, no kidding. Like, genuinely, when I went to Walmart this morning because I was initially wearing a black shirt. Mm-hmm. And so whenever I got to Walmart this morning, I was like, you know what, my blacks don't match. And so I'm going to grab me a new shirt. And immediately I went to the plus size section and I grabbed a 3X. And like, this is an extra large. And so it's very bizarre because, I've lived this way for all of these years. And still, after 3 years, I still see that other version of me. And you know what? So the fact that ChatGPT knows that GLP-1 has been a big part of my life, it's a really...
Is that a good... But why would it bring that up? Is that because I know some of these medications, I don't follow that kind of news.
Right.
So was there anything about that medication that was problematic?
I started whenever it first came out. I got a lot of flack for talking about it.
Really?
And what it was doing for me. People were talking about, you have influence. How dare you talk about this medication for people? Well, hello, it's prescription only. Like, if it's right for you, cool.
Okay.
But otherwise, so then chill out.
ChatGPT probably just at a glance took all of your videos that you've ever published and probably took the most popular ones, at least from a engagement perspective, and then posed a question around those. That makes perfect sense how it's done. So I got this sister, right? She's coming over in 2 weeks. Looking forward to it. She has a new baby. I stopped asking her how her day was about 8 years ago because she's a pediatric cardiologist. If babies come out with heart problems, she's the person that deals with them. And, that's what you say to everyone, how's your day, kind of thing. And it was such a roller coaster of nightmare stuff. I'm like, surely you don't want to keep talking about this every time. Let's talk about something else. Yeah. Like, I don't know if it was through choice, or you find yourself now where you've got this platform that's built on essentially your life is an open book. And with respect, I appreciate you coming in here and talk about that, but would you rather not be talking about that today? Or like, where's your head at with regard to that? Because I'm always sensitive to do you feel, I guess you've already answered this question. How connected do you feel to all of that? Especially given you've built this persona, this whole platform on it.
Yeah. I went silent in 2021. I completely ghosted all of social media. And it was one of those things where those events in your life when it's your life before that thing and then it's your life after that thing. So it was that earth-shaking. And it completely stripped me of everything that I thought that I knew about myself. Because at a certain point, I used to look at the world with these rose-colored glasses. People were innately good. I would trust you until you gave me a reason not to.
Everyone gets an A to start with.
Yeah. Well, then I realized it's not that my good heart is... I was too vulnerable. I let people know too much about me. And so then I went the completely opposite direction. Like,
pendulum swung.
It did. And I don't talk very much on social media these days.
Okay.
And that is just because I feel like I know that I have a story here, but it's reserved for...
How very healthy of you.
I mean, I'm just doing the best that I can. I don't even know, because it really did. It shook my world up, and I almost gave everything. I almost gave my social. I was going to sell my social media accounts, and
that's a thing.
Oh yeah, people buy. Oh yeah.
How much would they pay for 50 subscribers on a YouTube channel?
I don't know.
I'm not doing it for that. Just so
quality. They're quality.
Can I just tell you, so I've always been a cynic about social media and all of that. I mean, I'm 46, and so I was around. I was around before Google was born, and so we have our perspectives that way.
Yeah.
And so I've never really seen it as something I wanted to get into. If for nothing else, you're building a platform on top of somebody else's platform, then just take it away whenever you want, as we saw over the last couple of years and all. Mm-hmm. But I have really I've come to enjoy this podcast. You know, we're doing it because should have a podcast, right? We're a media
Absolutely.
company. But I've really enjoyed it. We would never be having this conversation. And with respect, I mean, I think everyone's awesome. They just don't know it, especially, the people that are having a bad time. It's usually temporary pressure that goes away. Like, I think even people that are, I don't know. I need to think more about that before I made that statement. But people generally are good, I believe. I do believe boundaries are also necessary because
Amen.
you can't be too exposed to those blows. It sounds like you perhaps were.
Oh, yeah.
But I've really come to appreciate this little presence that we're building on social media through this podcast, specifically because I get to and like chisel out 45 minutes of my day to sit down and have a conversation with people like you, which is fantastic.
Love that.
So
Love that.
I'm talking to you pre social media pause.
Yeah.
And so you came back with boundaries, I guess is what you needed to have, and you just slowed the whole thing down now.
Yeah, and I don't think that it's more of that I don't think it's that I've slowed it down. I think it's that I'm just very, very intentional.
Okay.
With
Because
what I
you
say
don't
and do.
strike me. Your energy level you're not slowing down at all.
No.
So what are you building? Because I know you're building something.
Gosh. So
You've got your
yeah.
community that are all helping each other. Like what else? And nice bracelets, by the way.
Yeah, so this is the Ripple Effect Shop. So I co-founded this with Claire in 2018.
I don't know
All
who
of
Claire
this.
is, but that's
my
irrelevant.
daughter.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yep,
Yeah.
Claire's my daughter. Okay, so we started this as a homeschool project where we were just going to make bracelets and jewelry and things like that for just maybe like about a year or maybe just a semester or something like that. That was going to teach her some entrepreneurial skills.
Yep.
That was going to help with her math, her gross motor, because she does have cerebral palsy and is on the autism spectrum.
Okay.
So it's going to help with her gross motor skills. And at this point, we have shipped to all 50 states several times over and 8 different countries. And, our art is all over the place. And it's so freaking cool that people...
It's like the banner on your Facebook page.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's beauty in that chaos. There really is.
It is. There really is. And there are people all over the world that wear real Posse stuff or have a keychain or, a logo or something like that. And what it means to them. Like whenever I was about to sell, I remembered how it transformed me, how that group transformed me. I started that group with as a catfish. So my name was Maggie Steele. And the thing was that I was talking about these taboo things that I didn't think that my audience or that a group of women at that time, it wasn't really an audience, or I guess it was, but I didn't really know. But I was talking about things that I didn't think that people wanted to hear from a 330-pound woman. And so I spoke from the perspective of Maggie Steele, who was this just badass freaking cartoon character with this really cool facial expression and just completely unapologetic and just transparent as you can be. Well, it took 6 days for them all to figure out that it was me anyway. So that group has consistently demanded more from me and has made me put my freaking money where my mouth is.
Good.
Like you can't just say these things. You have to do them. And she's like, and if you don't do them, then I'm going to make you. You don't have boundaries. I'm going to make people hurt you so badly that it's not going to be an option anymore. And okay, like I'm listening. I'm listening. And I am so unbelievably appreciative of every single thing that has come. And I'm talking about like even the hurt. It's like I struggle with like secondary infertility. So I needed something to mother. Like I have Claire, but haven't been able to have another child. And so I needed something to mother. And so I start these businesses and I start these projects and so that I can care for something. And so it's like a child. And I've watched her grow up and I've watched her come into her own, because that group is a hell of a lot bigger than just me. Like I am honored to be the one to have founded it, but it is what it is because of every single person who has ever been in there.
What do you see it becoming 10, 15, 20 years from now?
It is going to be it's going to be a very big nonprofit that is going to serve women in ways that is so unbelievably needed. And because I've seen it happen. We had one woman come in, and I will never forget that we've had this has happened several times, but this was in March of 2022 and no 2023, and she came in there and said that her baby had her 4-month-old baby had just passed away in a car accident, and within 24 hours, like nobody knew her. But within 24 hours, they had raised $1,725, not because that would bring her baby back, but because maybe her husband could stay home a little bit longer and they could breathe a little bit more. And, we do workshops. We go all over the country. We're about to go to Wedowee, Alabama on Halloween. We do these retreats. And the changes that I've seen in the women who have been to these retreats is just like night and day. The changes that have happened in me, have been like night and day. I'm not the same person as I was. And not that I wasn't a good person. I was a good person then.
We're
I'm
all
just
a work in progress.
Different. Yeah, I'm just
We're
different.
all a work in progress.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, listen, I mean, I could talk to you for hours, but I get the feeling that we're going to be doing that. So
I would love that.
Yeah, I look forward to getting to know you more and seeing how things transpire with your story, and if we can help share a piece of that, I think that is something I would definitely like to do.
I would love that.
Awesome.
Yes.
You want a high five or shake hands or hug, or what do you want to do? Yeah, high five. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been a blast.